Welcome. Welcome back if you're returning. Let's start with a thrift trip. It's funny, I both love and loathe this time of year. There's no escaping it. Christmas is on its way. Actually, it's everywhere. Some people have their homes fully decorated and ready to go. But as much as I love Christmas, and I do love Christmas, I want to pause and think about what it should be. A time for family, for being with the people you love, and for showing a little more kindness and goodwill. Maybe this season it should be a little less commercial and a little more considered. So, in that spirit, this is my first Christmas video of this year, where, as always, I'll be showing you that with a little bit of thrift and a lot of creativity, you can create an original, an authentic holiday season without having to spend a fortune. Well, I thrift year round, and I'm having a hard time buying things new, especially decor pieces, unless it's exceptional and it's an art piece or something that you cannot thrift. I do find myself thrifting everything, especially with regard to, as I said, to decor and Christmas. I have found some absolutely amazing bargains. And in the past I've bought things new and inevitably find within a year I can pick that stuff up at a fifth of the price I paid for it. So as I said, I've gathered together a whole bunch of items that I've thrifted specifically for Christmas, and I'm going to show you what I have planned for some of them. So I am going back to basics again. I know Ralph Lauren is very popular this Christmas, but I feel like that is the look that I always have. They call it Ralph Lauren. It's English country, country house inspired, which is obviously where Ralph Lauren got his inspiration in the first place. But I've always had quite a bit of tartan and lots of golds and reds and greens. So this year I'm going to go more nostalgic and more childhood Christmas. Now, depending on where you grew up in the world, and that's going to look different to different people, but this is my interpretation of Christmas, and hopefully it will inspire and maybe save a few dollars here and there. So we're back home. Let's see what we picked up. I picked up a bag, $2, and inside with this really cute little white lamb, which is gorgeous and is very similar to the little black lamb that I picked up the other week. Found the two feathers and the wings and this little apple. I will be redonating them as they are not my taste. These are gorgeous. They're all collector's items, little angels, the three of them. They're like ceramic. They've got a beautiful gloss finish. One of them has its little wings that have fallen off, but I can absolutely repair those. So just for $2, I must have got probably $20 or $30 worth of items that, somebody else has looked over. I just love them. Also in the same, I think it was the same bag, with these little ceramic balls, which I think will be great for either engraving or painting on. There were these little woodland ones, which I might donate. They're not really my style. And then this lovely, it's like a frosted Christmas ball. This was another bag that I found. This was full of these little pears that had like a crushed glass in like a bronzy brown. Absolutely love those. I'm going to either hang them on the tree or put them in a bowl with lights. There was these two little pieces of ribbon which I thought were perfect for wrapping, especially kids' gifts. The silver glitter is great. These little glass balls, a couple of years ago I wanted to make some crafts out of these, and I left it too late and couldn't find them anywhere. So I found a whole bunch in a bag. This was a dollar bag. I found two that were in half. There was three of them which were hanging, and then they had a hole in the back. I also picked up these little nativity pieces. So there were two lambs. I think the lambs were 25 cents each. There were, well, I didn't pick up the whole thing. They were all different sizes, but I got Joseph, Mary, the baby Jesus, and I think a wise man. But for that price, I think they were 25 cents. The most expensive, I think, was 50 cents. And it was an angel that I bought. So what I thought I'd do with those glass balls is decorate them and hang them either on a support or in a window or somewhere where they can be seen. I just thought that would look really nice. So that'll be in upcoming weeks. I'll be doing a craft with those involved. I had a collection of little Santas that I've had for years. And for some reason, a couple of years ago, I donated them all. I must have had about 10. And I used to sort of put them in various places or in a little line with little Christmas trees in. They used to look really cute. And since it's become very popular and a lot of people collect them, but so they you don't see them very often. But I did find this little Santa teapot. It's a very old one. I say this is probably from the sort of the 50s, 40s or 50s. It is gorgeous. There's a couple of little nicks here and there, so I will not be using it as a teapot. I think it's more decorative anyway, but it's going to look lovely on my shelf. This is a very nostalgic craft, and it was inspired by my little Santa mug. It reminded me of when I was a kid, and honestly, I remember for years we used to make paper chains. Now, we'd make them at school sometimes, but I remember making them at home and sitting down with, whether it was wrapping paper, old wrapping paper, or newspaper, nicely coloured newspaper, sometimes Christmas cards from years before. We would sit down, we would cut them all into little pieces, and then either glue or we used to have like a little pasty glue that I really remember really well. It had like a little rubber piece on top that used to squirt, and it would just pat down on the paper. But I digress. This is craft paper. It's like a card stock. So I had a book with it in, and I used, I think, 3 sheets or 4 sheets, 2 of green and 2 of yellow, which was for the paper chain. And then, of course, by the time I came around to making I'm making some more decorations, I was running a bit low, and I'll show you what I do later. But this is what I'm using for my paper chains. So as I said, the paper is quite thick. It is cardstock, and once I start to put it together, I've realised, yeah, way too thick the pieces are. So I just cut everything in half and then made the paper chain that way. So this is more of the red craft paper, same quality, and this time what I'm making is honeycomb decorations. Now this is where I ran out of paper, so what I did was I was hoping to make a red bauble and a green one, but in the end I had to combine red and green alternately, and then I still didn't have enough, so I had to back this particular honeycomb decoration, but you'll see in a minute, and it does actually work better if you want it to fit flat against something, but you'll see in just a moment. So I'm cutting all my card out. I think I ended up with about 20 pieces, so 10 of the red and 10 of the green, and then I have a template that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to cut out all the shapes. Once you've got all of your pieces cut out, you're going to do the first set of gluing. So you're going to take every piece and you're going to open it up and you're going to put 2 lines of glue in roughly the same place on each piece. You go through every single piece, open it up and put 2 little dashes of glue. Now whether it's a glue gun, a paste, it doesn't matter. Once they're all done, you take the folded piece and you mark it with your second set of glue marks, which is 3, almost alternate to the 2 that you first did. So if you see what I mean, the first time around you do 2 marks, the second time around you do 3 marks, and you repeat this on every single piece of paper and you glue everything together. Once it was all glued, as I said, I wanted this to be a full circle so that you join one side to the other and it would give you a complete circumference, but I didn't have enough paper. So what I did was I opened it up and then I decided to lay it on a piece of flat cardboard, and that cardboard then held it sort of halfway open, and then that way when it's on the wall it sits flat and as it's hanging it looks great. So I've just put a bead of glue along the back and then added in the ribbon with some beads just for a little bit more decoration and to hang it up. So obviously after finishing the first one I was absolutely addicted and decided to grab some more craft paper. This was that old vintage pad that I found, and the paper's like slightly yellowed and faded and it's lovely. It's a little bit thinner paper, and of course I had enough to do as many as I needed, and I think I did 24 of each for each of these honeycomb ornaments. So the green I did obviously the similar shape to the previous, and I also made a red one in just a little circle, and again followed the same procedure. First fold is 1 bead of glue down the middle, second is 2, and then joining everything together, sticking a ribbon on the inside, and I'm ready to go. You can use any glue you want with this. I found with the craft paper I did go back and have to re-stick a few just because of the nature of it, so I had to use hot glue in a couple of spots, but because this paper is so fine, the tacky glue, or well, you don't need to have such a strong glue, it works just as well. So here it is. I'm going to add to this, I'm going to get the same paper and I'm going to make some really long versions of this, and I'm going to put them in my hallway. Again, these just look so lovely, and you can see because it's only half of this, the top one that I made, this first one, it fits great because it's lays flat against the fireplace or the wall or wherever you want to put this. I've added glitter and gold paint also to the edges of the green and the red one, and just love how they look. They're very, very nostalgic. So, paper chains in the hallway, but for the kitchen I'm going bronzes and browns and golds and reds because I love that lovely dark academia feel. So I found this wreath a few weeks ago. These little acorns all have little bells in them, or they are bells. So I think I paid a couple of dollars for it. So all I've done is I've straightened out the wire that held all these bells together, and then I've taken off as many of the bells as I'm going to need. So I decided I had this ribbon and I threaded it through my darning needle, and I had a whole bag of 2 bags actually of these little beads that I've had for a long time now, and I really wanted to incorporate in my decor at some point. So I strung on 10 beads and then I threaded through a little bell, and I did this all the way along until I had a length of garland that was as long as my bookshelf. That's the great thing about making these garlands yourself. You can make them as short or as long as you want, and you can add to them or shorten them off if you need to. So 10 beads, a bell. One is a bronzy bell, one is a brown bell, and I'm doing this alternately all the way across until I have the length that I required. Once this is done, I take some green velvet ribbon and I just cut some little pieces, wrap them with a little piece of pipe cleaner in gold, and stick the little bows on top of each of the little acorn bells. So I have enough beads and bells to make quite a few of these garlands, and I'm going to be putting them up in the kitchen. I also have, for some reason, I seem to have thrifted quite a few acorn style decorations and baubles. So I'm also making some features for the end and the centre of these garlands with some velvet ribbon, some more beaded rope, and also some bigger acorns that are going to be hanging from either end. So I was thinking about it, and I was thinking it's probably from in previous years the woodland theme's been very popular, and of course people are getting rid of those looks now because they're changing all the decor. So I have found quite a few of these acorns in different sizes, different shapes, different colours. So those are what I'm using to make the ribbon hangings for my garland, and here is the finished garland. Of course, I made this garland because I had beads and I had these little acorn bells, but you could just use the ribbon, you could use regular bells, you could use material and add bows between each of these little bells that are hanging. So you can do your own interpretation of these, but they are very pretty, they are very bespoke, and of course you can make them any length that you want to fit your decor. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Here's my little Santa that inspired the look. I will be building on the decor as the weeks go by, and I've got lots of great things planned for the next few weeks until we actually start putting up our Christmas decor. So have a great week. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.